Hey guys, so I found this kind of small canvas. I mean, there are smaller ones, but I never worked on a canvas this size before, so I didn't really know what to paint on it. So I just decided that I would follow a Bob Ross tutorial on it. I already followed one 2 years ago, I think, but I didn't do it on a canvas. I did it on paper with acrylics, and I also did not prep it with some type of liquid white. So this time I wanted to make it better. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it on a canvas and I'm going to prep it with white paint, but I am still gonna use acrylics. I just like using acrylics, and I also like to not have my painting look exactly like his painting, because I don't think that's fun. So I want to give the painting like, my own touch to it. It sounds so weird, but yeah. And already when I started painting the sky, I experienced some difficulties because the red paint that I applied mixed together with the white that I had prepped the canvas with, so it turned out much lighter and much pinker. No, not much pinker, just much lighter than I would have expected. Same thing with the blue, but all in all, I think it turned out. I can't say I think it turned out good, but it went okay. Like it's not a big deal for me. It was also a little bit difficult to blend the colors. I am used to working with acrylics and blending them, and I know that you need kind of a dry brush to blend the colors, but because I had the white paint on the canvas that was still wet, it wasn't as easy. So honestly, I don't know if I would have done this again. I don't know if I would have prepped the canvas. I really don't know. And the clouds here, again, like, I just feel like the canvas and the paint got a little bit too wet, so it wasn't easy to fluff them up, blend them out, you know what I mean. So they're kind of just like white blobs. But as you will see later on, as the painting progresses, it doesn't really matter because the clouds aren't the main focus of the finished painting. So I don't really care. And I also tried to make the sky a bit darker. I don't know why, because I had already painted on the clouds. And this step I was very nervous for, the mountains, because I thought that I was just gonna fail. But once I had actually placed these mountains out on the canvas, I already was a lot more satisfied with the painting. They really made a difference, in my opinion. They kind of saved the painting a little bit. And the mountains also kind of covered the sky that I wasn't too happy with, so that was also a huge plus. And again, I thought it was a little bit difficult to blend at the bottom. In Bob Ross's video, it looked very, effortlessly and easy. But for me, it wasn't. So actually, I went ahead and put some white paint on my brush and tried to, blend it together, just because I couldn't really, get a seamless effect by blending out the dark paint alone. I also guess that I added a little bit too much white paint on this painting knife. Is that what it's called? I don't know. but I kind of saved it, and I thought that the mountains were actually really fun to paint, and in the finished result, the mountains is actually what I turn out to be the most satisfied with. And by the way, the last time I followed a Bob Ross tutorial, I was actually also filming myself while painting, but this time I'm only making a voiceover, and I hope it's just as entertaining as the previous one. I find that it's a little bit more difficult to entertain while doing a voiceover. I don't know why. I just feel like I have to talk all the time, and I don't really have a prepared script. I mean, I never do when I'm making my videos, to be really honest. I just improvise everything. But I planned them out a little bit, but the rest I improvise. So I still hope that you think this is entertaining. At least you can see the painting better in this video, because I don't have to fit both myself and the painting in the frame. So yeah. And I don't remember exactly, but as far as I recall from the previous tutorial, you didn't really have to create shadows as much, but for this tutorial, he was like telling you to create these darker shadows and medium shadows and everything like that. But I actually thought, like, even though it was a little bit difficult, I thought it was really fun, and it created more dimension to the mountains. And I guess maybe that's why the mountains are the things that I turn out to be the most satisfied with. And again, the mountains really compensates for the ugly clouds and the ugly sky. And you know that thing on the right that I painted kind of behind the mountains, I don't know what that is. He did something and it looked good, and I tried to do the same thing and it looks weird. But I covered it up with trees, happy trees, later on, so it's all good. I actually also may have painted the mountains too far out on the canvas, but I don't really mind, because again, I don't feel that it needs to look exactly like Bob Ross's painting. It already won't, since I'm using acrylics and he's using oils. Maybe if someone is like a pro at using acrylics, they can make it look exactly like his. I don't know, but yeah, as long as the end result looks okay, I'm happy. And in case you're wondering what I'm doing here is, well, you know, the white paint that I had prepped the canvas with had kind of dried out a bit, so I wanted to restore it, but at this point the water that I was using to clean my brushes had gotten a little bit dark. I know you should change your water, and I did after this, but yeah, it didn't turn out super dark anyway, so it's fine. And as you can see here, I ended up covering it with a darker paint anyway, by instructions. Of course, I didn't just decide to do it, but I was instructed to do it. So yeah, no worries about the dark colored water kind of ruining the white paint. Okay, so there is one thing that I gotta mention though, and for this part and for some other parts later on, you were supposed to mix two different yellow shades and a little bit of a green shade into that. And for some reason, it's probably something with the paint that I was using. I mean, I was using paint that I got last year and I've been storing them perfectly. and all of the other colors from the same, you know, purchase or whatever, they worked fine. But whenever I added this yellow green mix to the canvas, it was as if it didn't really want to stay on the canvas. I don't know if you can see it, but if you compare it like to the brown color, I mean, I did apply it with kind of a stippling motion, like a different technique. I didn't swipe it on, but the dark color that's right above the yellow, I also did the same technique, but it's much better. Like, but the yellow one, it didn't really want to stick to the canvas, and later on you will see it. Once again, I will explain it later what I mean, because you can see it better later on when I have drawn the trees. And by the way, for the trees, I didn't have a fan brush, so I just took this brush that I actually found yesterday when I painted this. So it would have probably turned out better if I would have been using a fan brush, but yeah. And here you can see when I'm trying to blend, it's as if the yellow color just does not want to stick to the canvas. It just wipes away, and I don't really know why. Anyway, yeah, so the trees, they turn out pretty okay despite not using a fan brush. So yeah, I am pretty happy. And then I had to add the yellowish green color again, but you had to make it kind of a different shade. And same problem here, it just won't stick to the canvas. And then you had to add a little bit of red to it. Same problem. So I actually just went and did some other stuff and waited for it to dry a little bit. But once I came back, I still kind of had the same problem. Anyway, I kind of just gave up on that and just wanted to make the ground a little bit darker. But yeah, I didn't add enough color, so this is what it looks like, but it will look better later on. I also don't think I added enough color when I painted these bigger trees, but I think it looks kind of good despite that. The only thing may be that you can kind of see through them, but I did add more color to them later on. I feel like I have said later on a lot in this video, but yeah, I think that's, you know, the thing when you paint. A lot of it may look a little bit in the beginning, but once it's actually finished, it looks a lot better. And then I had to use that yellowish green color to add highlights to the trees, but also to create a bush on the right side of the painting. But I was facing the same problem once again. The paint wouldn't really stick to the canvas, and I don't really know why, but I think you can see that it's looking a little bit weird. And when working with acrylics, usually when you add another layer of paint on top of another layer that has dried a bit, whatever is underneath will be pretty much covered. And of course, it depends a little bit on how much you have diluted the paint with water, but even though I got really frustrated and just took yellow undiluted paint and dried the brush and tried to put it on top, it would still not really stick to the canvas. So yeah, I don't know, but I did my best, and that's all that I could do. And then you were supposed to make a little path, and I think that this kind of saved the yellowish green disaster. It kind of took focus from it. And when the painting was supposed to be finished, I decided that I wanted to just fix some places that I wasn't really satisfied with. So the bushes, I felt like they needed some dimensions, so I created some darker shadows at first, and then I tried to brighten them up a bit with the yellow paint. And I also wanted to darken up the path a little bit, but once I had done that, it looked a little bit weird, like it didn't blend that well with the rest of the ground, so I had to fix the ground as well, and then I had to fix the path a little bit again. So yeah, I don't know if it looked better before I tried to fix things or if it looked better afterwards, but the end result is okay regardless, so I am happy. So even though I am kind of happy with the finished results, I must admit that I do like the upper part of the painting better than the lower part, and I do think that the upper part is what makes the painting look interesting, if that makes any sense. So yeah, that is all that I had for this video. If you enjoyed watching it, then please give it a thumbs up. That would be very nice. And also don't forget to subscribe, because I post a lot of drawing tutorials so you can get better at drawing, and I also post some speed drawings that may be inspiring, I don't know. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one.